Epoxy is toxic and dangerous, and I did not know that until I started getting an allergic reaction. And even then, it took me a little while to figure out that that's what was causing it. But once I did, I looked into alternatives, and that's when I found the CrystaLac Company products. And honestly, I found them 3 years ago, and I haven't looked back. They recently released a new top coat called Grand Finale, and I am gonna walk you through everything that you need to know about using it for your tumblers. Before I jump into it, you may wanna check out this video that I have of talking about the reasons I don't use epoxy anymore. In this video, I'm gonna focus specifically on Grand Finale and all of its amazingness. Grand Finale is just one of the few supplies that I use to create my tumblers. If you want my free checklist to help you get started, figure out exactly what you need to buy, make sure you click the link underneath this video so you can get started with the right supplies without buying too much. I want to walk you through everything that I have learned from using Grand Finale, but make sure you stick around to the end because I will tell you my best tips for actually using it on your tumblers. Grand Finale is a top coat. It can be used on your tumblers as well as other crafts like keychains and pens, and you could use it on your wood signs, but I'll probably use some of their other products for that. It is water-based, non-toxic, made in the US, and it is safe to use inside. And that is why I like to use it. So the Grand Finale is brand new, and up until this point for the past over 3 years, I have been using Brite for my tumblers. So if you found me and you've seen any of the hundreds of videos that I've made using Brite, you know that I love it and you can totally learn how to use that. But as time goes on, the more and more I use Grand Finale, I will be transitioning to using the Grand Finale for my tumblers. It is still a CrystaLac Company product, right? They make both of them, but I am gonna be shifting to using the Grand Finale for my tumblers. As I transition, I will probably be using both because I do have a lot of Brite still that I bought recently. So I wanna make sure that I use it up and it doesn't go to waste. So if you are starting with Brite, that is fine. I am going to be transitioning to Grand Finale. So if you're looking to learn more about the Grand Finale and more tumbler tutorials for that, make sure you hit the like button and I'm gonna tell you how they're different. You can use both Brite and Grand Finale on the same tumbler. So if you have a bunch of tumblers started with Brite, you can finish them up with your Grand Finale. All CrystaLac products can be used they're like interchangeable. You can really use them all simultaneously on the same project. So if you started your tumblers with Brite, you can totally go ahead and finish with Grand Finale. Brite has a 4-hour dry time, and the new Grand Finale has a 2-hour dry time. That's one of the big benefits of switching over to that Grand Finale because all you have to do is let it dry for 2 hours before you can recoat it. The other thing about the Grand Finale is a little bit thicker. Not only when you apply it, it is a little bit thicker, but it has higher solids. So that means when the water evaporates out and it dries, it is thicker than the Brite. So you're going to get a smoother tumbler faster. If you're going over glitter, it's gonna take less coats to get your cup smooth with Grand Finale than it is with Brite. So overall, if you've already invested in your Brite, that's cool. Grand Finale is similar, but it is thicker and it dries in 2 hours. So you can cut down that dry time in half, which means you can get your tumblers done faster. The other main difference is that the Grand Finale is less expensive. At the time of this video, of course, things can change depending when you're watching this. A gallon of Brite costs about $140, and a gallon of the Grand Finale is $89. So it is a lot less expensive to buy the Grand Finale than it is the Brite. I've been using it now for a couple of weeks. I've made about 10 tumblers and I really like how it works. I like the thickness of it and I feel like my final tumblers, because it's a little bit thicker, give a little bit more depth when you're looking at the final tumbler. So a lot of people who are looking to transition from epoxy to epoxy free, I think you guys will really, really like the Grand Finale because it has a similar look to the epoxy tumblers, more so than the Brite did. So the main things that you need to know about the Grand Finale are, one, it has a 2-hour dry time. So you can re-coat your tumbler after it dries for 2 hours. It should spin for about an hour before you take it off your turner, but after that 1 hour mark, you can put it to hang dry and re-coat it after 2 hours. The second thing is that it does harden quicker than the Brite tone. So after about 3 to 5 days, you can start using your tumbler and it will fully harden over the next couple of weeks. Now, it does take time for top coats of any kind to fully harden, and that amount of time really depends on your environment and how much you use, how many coats and all of that, but it is safe to assume that you can use it after about 3 to 5 days, and it will be fully hard after about 2 to 3 weeks. You can use the Grand Finale to apply your glitter, or you can use the glitter glue, and then you will also use the Grand Finale to build up your coats. You can mix in your pigments to make colors, mica powder, liquid micas, the new CrystaLac inks, or any paints. You can mix those in with your Grand Finale to create all different types of tumblers. One of the main things that people ask are, how much should I use per coat and how many coats do I need for a tumbler? These are difficult questions because it really depends on where you're at in the process. Early in the process, when your glitter is fresh, you're gonna be using more Grand Finale in one coat than you will be by the end when it is smooth. So my recommendation is to really just use enough, as much as you need to get it covered and not more. So it's a good place to start around 5 milliliters in those first couple of coats, but you could probably bring that down to about 3 by the end when your cup is getting smooth. I recommend just practicing, not worrying too much about the hard and exact numbers, and you will get a feel for the product and you're gonna make beautiful tumblers. The number of coats will also depend on the type of glitter, your skill level, how well you got it flat, glitter, no glitter, chunky, fine, right? All of that will go into how many coats that you have. I will say I have done a few fine glitter tumblers and a few chunky glitter tumblers, and my fine glitter tumblers were ready for decals after about 5 coats of Grand Finale, and my chunky glitter tumblers have been ready after about 6, 7, or 8 coats of the Grand Finale for decals, and just about ready to be completely done. Again, you're gonna need to practice and figure out what that number is for you, and the more you make, the more efficient you're gonna get with your tumblers. Let's talk about actually applying the Grand Finale to your tumbler. You can use your hand, it is non-toxic and it is totally safe to touch, or you can use a brush. What you choose is really a personal decision. I recommend trying it both ways before you decide. The Grand Finale is a little bit thicker than the Brite tone that a lot of us are used to. Because of that, and you wanna make sure that you coat your tumbler quickly because it does dry quickly, I have found that using my whole hand helps me do that. All I do is squirt down one line around half the tumbler and use my hand to spread it around just about half the tumbler. I let it spin to the other side and repeat that process. So I have the entire tumbler covered, and then I'll just go through and swipe down to make sure I get off any excess. You don't want to put on too much. This method has just been the best way for me to get it completely covered quickly, so I can just put it on there, forget it, and let it dry to get a nice finish. If you already use Brite tone, the switch from Brite tone to Grand Finale really shouldn't be too difficult for you. The overall process is the same. I think you're gonna really love the new Grand Finale, and the process is really the same. You're just gonna move a little bit quicker through your tumbler making process. If you are brand new to making tumblers and you wanna streamline that learning process, I am opening up my Tumbler Maker Accelerator group program for enrollment here really soon. So depending on when you're watching this, click the link underneath this video to enroll in the comprehensive group program to get you making amazing tumblers quickly, or get on the wait list. If you want to see a step-by-step tutorial on how I make a glitter tumbler using the Grand Finale, make sure you watch this video I'm going to pull up on your screen.